Hello and welcome to the TCF Morning Show. It is Monday, December 28th. And this morning I am joined by Matt Schoolfield at schools_01 and Boomy at Boomy TCF. I am Zach Lilia at Z Lilia TCF. The main page is at typical_Chicago on Twitter. On this morning we will be talking about the Bears. They are going to hopefully make the playoffs. They are one win away with the Cardinals losing on Saturday. They hold their faith, is it their destiny, whatever, in their own hands. I'm very nervous about this. We'll get more into that. We'll have the NFL Week 16 recap. We had a crazy Sunday. We're gonna have a crazy week next Sunday, so we'll get into that. And the Bulls start the season 0-3 on a last second shot, kind of. There was 1.7 seconds left. Everyone thought Curry was going to get it. Maddie, you said Damian Lee.
Yeah, it was Damian Lee. Yeah,
hits the three-pointer, and then the Bulls shoot up like a half-court shot, lose it. They're 0-3. The Warriors were 0-2, so that's not good. We'll have some college hoops talk, and then we'll have. I'm very worried / not that worried, I guess, about the Darvish trade rumors, but they are real, but they are said to be crazy. They want crazy amount of players and stuff like that. And then we will have Boomy's Wacky web story. And if you want to follow us on Instagram or Facebook, just type in Typical Chicago Fans. You will find us on there. Go over to the YouTube page, Typical Chicago Fans. Subscribe to the YouTube page. And then wherever you get your podcast from, if it's Apple, please subscribe, rate, and review. If it's anywhere else, please just type in Typical Chicago Fans. You will find us on there. Shout out to 26shirts.com Chicago. I got my shirt on from them. Boomy's always got them in the background. The 26shirts.com Chicago. Use the promo code Typical Chicago Fans at checkout for 15% off of your purchase. Again, that is Typical Chicago Fans at checkout for 15% off of your purchase at 26shirts.com Chicago. Boys, how are we doing after this? It was a crazy weekend of sports.
Doing great. Absolutely great. Another week off of work and, like you said, busy weekend of sports. So life is good.
We had the NFL on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and we'll have them today or tonight. We will have another NFL game. So it's a great time.
indeed.
One of the best weeks of the year.
Indeed. And then we get, obviously wild card weekend's always fantastic. And this year you get the added layer of, an extra game Saturday, extra game Sunday too. So 3 wild card games next weekend too. So it's really starting to ramp up the intensity of the NFL now at this point.
You've got to love it. But we'll have 3 shows this week, 3 morning shows, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then we'll have a podcast out on Thursday, New Year's Eve. We'll have some fun with that. If you got any New Year's Eve, any kind of top 3s, maybe if you want to throw our way to help us out, but we're going to have a podcast out on Thursday, and we'll have a morning show Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, leading up to the Bears-Packers game on Sunday, which has become a big game for the both of them, very different ways. But unfortunately for the Bears, the game will mean a lot to the Packers. But let's get right into it, though. The Bears beat the Jaguars. They beat them 41-17. Mike Glennon. Thank you, Mike Glennon. But the play calling was a little suspicious. It seemed like there was maybe a head coach behind some of the play calling there today. It looked like Matt Nagy may have had the play sheet quite a bit. It looked like, I don't know. But it looked a little bit like Matt Nagy was calling some of those plays because some of them were head scratchers. A little
Is it
confusing.
a possibility that maybe Bill Lazor's just not any different than Matt Nagy, though? Like, I see a lot of stuff, like everything, it just boils down to Matt Nagy, blame him, but like maybe Bill Lazor isn't everything is cracked up to be. I don't know. I'm just saying.
The only thing I'm going to
No.
say, and there's obviously some questions as to the way the offense is run, but they did put up 41 today. So I'm not going to give them, I'm not going to ride that too hard, because for me, it was the defense that left me desiring a little bit more. And if you're going to play Green Bay next week with the season on the line to win or go home, defense is going to need to play a little bit better than they did, especially in the first half against the Jaguars, because Aaron Jones is going to do really bad things to them if they can't stop, the Jacksonville ground game.
And Matt, I agree with what you're saying, but that defense was bad. They literally gave the Bears, I think, 25 yards at the end of that half, just because, they literally gave them the whole middle of the field. Like they were out there to lose.
I agree with you. I think there was a tale of two halves. I think the first half was atrocious from a play calling perspective, and it got cleaned up really, really quickly in the second half. And they
and
just
what I like,
blew
though?
the doors
I
off.
like to see the intensity.
And the ground game got
from
going
Mitch
again
on
too.
The sidelines. He seemed like he was a little mad, and he let it be known. And it seemed like he feels like he might be more of a leader. Hopefully.
I think it's pretty apparent, too, that David Montgomery has got to be the focal point of that offense. And just get him the ball.
1,000-yard rusher.
Get him the ball and get the hell out of the way right now, because he's running like an absolute monster running back right now. So ride him as long as he can. He's a hot hand. It's similar to what you're starting to see with like what Green Bay's doing with Dillon tonight, obviously. In support of Aaron Jones, who got a little banged up early, but came back in and had another monster run. Aaron Jones, you get that kind of impact from the ground game, and you can see what it does for Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams. So it's plain to see that you can see Trubisky benefiting from the play action game, benefiting from David Montgomery being such a threat on the ground.
Yeah, it's awesome to see a 1,000-yard rusher out there. You don't see that a lot in the NFL, but it's nice to have that, and hopefully the Bears look at the numbers he's had this year and start using him more.
And I cannot forget to give Mitch kudos on his ability to use his athleticism, and he's starting to figure it out when he should a little bit and when he shouldn't. And you can see it. His decision making is starting to get, I think, a little better outside of a pick, like you see at towards the end of the first half, which that's just an interception you cannot fucking throw. The one in the end zone just kind of lofted it up for three guys had a chance to pick it off. And fortunately, Glennon gave it back. But overall, Mitch looks like a different quarterback right now than he did in the first 3 weeks of the season.
He had the one bad interception, but you'll have that. You just got to start throwing those away. But we got Packers on Sunday at noon.
3. They pushed it back to 3.
As of when?
Today, to like about a half hour ago, they updated the schedules because they put the Bears and Packers back at 3 o'clock with the Rams and Cardinals, so they're playing at the same time. So they can't impact each other. They adjusted the schedules big time. I've got it. I've actually got it all right here. Bear with me 1 second. Yes, the noon games now are Miami, Buffalo, Baltimore, Cincy, which has playoff implications, Pittsburgh, Cleveland. It's like all the AFC games that matter are at noon, and all the NFC games that matter at 3. Because they got Minnesota, Detroit at noon, which doesn't matter. Tennessee versus Houston, though. Jacksonville, Indy, also at 1. Jets, Patriots doesn't matter, but Cowboys, Giants is now a noon game, and the Washington football team and Eagles play on Sunday night. They moved that game back to Sunday night, so now there's a Sunday night game that matters, a noon game that matters for the NFC East.
Wait, there was never a Sunday night football game before this.
There is now.
Okay, that's what I meant.
Washington and Philly.
That's crazy.
Washington and Philly, and then the 3 o'clock games are now the Saints, Panthers, Packers, Bears, Raiders, Broncos, Chargers, Chiefs, but then Cardinals, Rams, and Seahawks, 49ers as well. So all the NFC games that really matter at 3 o'clock, essentially.
I like that a lot. Let's move into Week 16. It was a crazy, like I said, we had Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then we have a game tonight. It's New England and the Bills. But Boomy, let's get into some scores from week 16.
Let's take it back, like you said, Zach, to Friday. The New Orleans Saints hosted the Minnesota Vikings and ended any playoff hope that the Vikings had. Put the final nail in the coffin. The Saints win 52-33. Vikings they kind of were what everybody expected, and the Saints kind of played it like a playoff game, and I thought they were the better team, and they just put that final nail in the coffin that we were all kind of waiting for.
Yeah.
How about Alvin Kamara, though? Wow.
Oh, my God.
He had 5 touchdowns?
5 or was it 6? It was
6
5 or
touchdowns.
6.
That's crazy.
It was, yeah.
6 touchdowns on 155
Did you
yards.
see the Saints tweeted out the burger emoji when they hit 50?
He is unbelievable. Unbelievable good. 6 touchdowns. That's like Madden numbers.
He's a different player when Breeze is there, that's for sure.
Oh, absolutely. Moving into the Saturday games, while the Lions barely showed up. Now, in their defense, they were missing like 6 starters, and their wide receivers coach was their head coach because Darrell Bevel has COVID as the interim. So they got beat 47-7. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers heading back to the playoffs for the first time since 2008.
Real quick,
That's
it's not like the Lions have
wild.
been very good historically, but if you want to see how bad they could be without a quarterback, see what happens without Matt Stafford, like they looked late in that game, and then also looking like Week 17, because that is an organization that has not been good, and they could be supremely horrible without a quarterback like Stafford, which is crazy to say.
Yeah. They were up 40-0 at half, which is, again, mad to see that kind of stuff happening. A game you guys needed. The 49ers hold off the Arizona Cardinals 20-12 in Arizona. Put
George
the
Kittle,
Bears,
man.
Yeah.
What a difference
And the Cardinals just did not look very good. They gave up some opportunities. They gave up some opportunities.
Zach, let's not forget, there's a reason the Bears are still fighting for a playoff spot, because some of the other teams they're fighting with aren't very good either, and the Cardinals are one of them. You know, they were very unimpressive, and they've been really unimpressive the last 8 weeks, really, outside of that Philly game that they damn near shit away too. But I don't know, man. There's no reason that the Bears are even in the spot they're in right now. They should have. When that Detroit game, it doesn't matter. None of this matters. Irritating about it.
We move on, Maddie. We move on.
The last game on Saturday night was one of the better games. Miami comes back. John Gruden kind of comes into question, running the clock down for a field goal, 25 seconds left. One of the craziest throws I've ever seen. Ryan Fitzpatrick completes a pass, has no clue where it's going. His head is back to the side, and somehow completes the pass, 15-yard penalty, and then Jason Sanders bangs in a 44-yarder for the win. Won me and Zach some money, so we were a little, extra motivation in that one.
That is the only quarterback in the league that makes that throw or completes that throw.
I mean, that's just absurd. His head was sideways with a hand in his face. There's no way he had any clue where that was going. But
what'd you guys take on that game?
We had live money line.
There you go. That's always fun.
Plus 180, plus 140, something like that.
Unlike the Suns we almost stole last night.
Into the Sunday games, the Cleveland Browns they were missing 4 wide receivers. But what are the Jets doing? Like, you had an opportunity. The Jets are now not going to get the number 1 pick. The Jets win 23-16.
Yeah, Boomy argued with me this on Sunday morning that there's no way the Jets want to win this game. No way they're going to win this game. And guess what? They won this game.
I'd be furious if I was a Jets fan.
Furious. If I'm an owner, if I'm a GM, like, I'd be so mad. Because now, I mean, at best, you're going to get 2. And I think there's a chance it might even fall lower than that. It's just bad. That's just – Trevor Lawrence has got to be – I mean, I don't know. How do you feel about that? If you're Trevor Lawrence, would you rather go to New York or Jacksonville?
I'd rather go back to Clemson for my senior year.
Yes, I completely agree with you on that one. I couldn't agree more.
Probably get paid more anyway.
Yeah, or even pull a Eli Manning and just say, I'm not going to play for you. But yeah, the Browns, it's going to be hilarious that the Browns are going to have the most winning season since like 2002, and then they're not going to make the playoffs.
I just need Trevor Lawrence to strong arm a move to Chicago. That's what we need, Zach.
Good luck with that. Guy who's only played football in the South, I think, his whole life. He's going to strong arm.
He's got an affinity for deep dish.
Maddie's inside sources are telling him.
Yeah, that's what Dabo told me.
You shoot him an email, or actually, with Dabo, probably a carrier pigeon would work better.
No kidding.
So old school. The Baltimore Ravens stay in the hunt. They roll over the New York Giants 27-13. I don't know, guys. Baltimore's good, but like, are they good enough to even win a game in the playoffs? I don't know. I don't think so. It's weird.
I do not think so at all.
12 months could, be the exact. Last year they were a wagon. They were the 1 seed, and now they're, looking down the barrel of being on the outside looking in. They're the 6th seed right now, Cleveland 7, but still, that's a tough spot to be in right now. But, if they can get in, anything can happen.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, even with the Bears, anyone that makes the playoffs, anything can happen.
Yeah, as of right now, they would be slated to play the Buffalo Bills in Buffalo. And, Buffalo's good, but it's the playoffs, and anything can happen. You never know. In a game of who the hell cares, the Cincinnati Bengals beat the Houston Texans 37-31. Deshaun Watson, 324 yards, 3 touchdowns. Brandon Allen was the quarterback for Cincinnati, 371 yards. Absolute shootout.
I'll see Joe Burrow, dude.
It's they're going to get Cincinnati's going to have a nice spot. They're going to be in the top 10 again. You got to go out and do whatever you can to build an offensive line for that kid, because Joe Burrow, if they don't get an offensive line, he's just going to get killed his whole career.
Well, frankly, you'd probably now have some sort of draft equity in Brandon Allen because of a game like this. And I'm not saying you're going to go out and get first, second rounders, but who knows? Maybe you get a 4th rounder for him now. And
yes, exactly.
All of a sudden you start building pieces and pieces, and all of a sudden you might have a good offensive line before you know it.
Absolutely. The Kansas City Chiefs looking a little on the sketch side today, 17-14 over the 4-11 Atlanta Falcons. You hope, if you're a Chiefs fan, that this is just kind of one of those you've already clinched the 1 seed. You're not going 100%. And, Patrick Mahomes still had 278 yards, but 24 for 44, that's not great by any stretch. It just kind of felt like a very boring game for them. Like, Kansas City wasn't super interested in being there.
Well, they really had nothing to play for.
Yeah, exactly. So hopefully that's just one of those, they work those kinks out and they don't show up in the playoffs.
You worry about a team like that, more so gambling-wise, in their first playoff game, if they've coasted like that for 2 weeks, because you figure they're going to coast again next week in a game that doesn't matter. Then they get a bye week. So they've gone 3 weeks without playing give a shit football at all.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a spot where you fade the Chiefs, take
think
the
about
dog whoever they're going to face there.
Think about to the playoffs last year. Didn't the Kansas City Chiefs get behind in damn near every single game before they got to the Super Bowl?
They
were down
covered
10.
them. They still covered them all, too.
Right. But I'm saying, and we've talked about, anything can happen once you get in the playoffs, but shoot, if you give a team 10, 12, 14 points, you might.
Yeah, they got down to the Titans pretty quick.
They were down 10 at the end of the first quarter. So,
it's a team that, you don't really worry because they feel so comfortable no matter if they're playing ahead, playing behind. But, that's one of those spots that maybe even a first half, fade the Chiefs in the first half of their playoff game.
Absolutely. 2 questionably fraudulent teams. The Pittsburgh Steelers right the ship after that embarrassing loss on Monday night. They beat the Colts 28-24.
Unbelievable. The Colts were up 24-7.
Yeah.
It looked like all of a sudden Roethlisberger remembered how to play quarterback again.
342 yards and 3 touchdowns out of
But
Big Ben.
it was the same shit from him early though too. Like he was bad early again.
Yeah. I don't know how much I trust either of these two teams going into the playoffs. I don't think either of them are good enough to win a Super Bowl, obviously, but man, that's a disappointing loss for the Colts. Like you said,
Yeah,
they're up
it is
24-7. But Pittsburgh hanging in there. They've secured. I think they're going to be the 2 seed. There's a possibility Buffalo gets it, I think, but I'm not exactly sure what the scenario is there. Another game of who the hell cares. The Chargers beat the Broncos 19-16. Boring game. Drew Lock 264. Justin Herbert 253. But we can move on because, like I said, it's the Broncos and the Chargers. Who the hell cares? The Washington football team, who had a chance to, I believe, put themselves they couldn't have clinched, but they could have really, really put themselves in the driver's seat of the NFC East. They fall at home to the Carolina Panthers 20-13. Yikes. And
bad loss.
What an ugly game. Dwayne Haskins threw for 154 yards. I don't even know how to Heineke? Is that his name? He came in and played quarterback for the Washington football team. He had 137. Teddy Bridgewater, 197. That's a boring football game. 2 bad football teams.
Dwayne Haskins not good though when you lose your captaincy after being at the strip club and then throw out a dud like that in a big meaningful spot. That does
and
not.
The head coach already hates you.
Yeah.
Like he was toting Alex Smith out there on 1.5 legs. Like he clearly does not.
He's ready to do that again next week.
Yeah. If Alex Smith says I'm over 50%, Alex Smith is going to play, and especially next week because of the playoff implications.
That was an ugly game.
Sidebar on Alex Smith. Do we really think that guy is going to have two fully functioning legs at like 45?
No, unfortunately, I think Alex Smith is going to be in a wheelchair by the time he turns 50.
At some point, dude, that guy, like,
let's hope not.
I know, but like, that's the kind of shit that's where I get uneasy watching some of this, man.
Yeah.
It's like, you see guys like that, and that dude is not going to be able to walk very likely.
No.
And it's crazy to me. And I know, and I don't think it's only the money at this point. I don't think you do that. There's other ways you can make a lot of money. Especially when you've got the connections that a guy like him has. To come back again after that says more than just the same. This isn't a money thing,
Yeah, it's almost sad to see sometimes, and he's out there just taking shots, and it's like,
and I said that I know that comment like it kind of sounded like smart ass, like I said, but I genuinely like that. That's the kind of shit that's like makes you really kind of, I don't know, uneasy about this.
Yeah, that's the kind of gamer stuff.
It's like all the head injuries and stuff. You know what I mean? It's just like this. Yeah, don't like it.
Another ugly game. The Rams forgot that they had a game today. Lost 20-9 to the Seahawks. I'm not convinced either of these teams are that good. I mean, they're good, but like thinking
of a bad game also.
20-9. Like,
what happened to those offenses?
The Rams just look like they had no interest in scoring in the third and fourth quarters.
But
they had no sense of
everybody was hyping up Seattle's offense early in the season. What the fuck happened to that offense the last 4 or 5 weeks?
Russell Wilson never received an MVP. Yeah, it's because he finishes now.
Let Russ cook.
Both of those teams, I mean, obviously they're both playoff teams, but you got to right that ship real fast because neither of those teams look good. And
the Rams are not a playoff team, by the way. The Rams are not locked in yet.
No, but they're the 6th seed. They're probably going to get in.
If the Bears win and they lose, they're out.
Oh, really?
Yeah. If the Bears win and the Cardinals beat the Rams are out.
Oh, Cardinals play.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
The Rams could have locked up a spot tonight, and they laid a dud. And now they're without Jared Goff too because he got a broken thumb. So they're gonna be trotting out a guy that was in the AAF in the off season is going to be their quarterback against the Cardinals.
He played most of that game with a broken thumb.
Yeah, it's not looking real good for the Rams right now.
Whoopsies. The Eagles, I don't know what the Eagles are doing.
Zach's face. Zach made a face. I just lost it. I don't know why. I just lost it.
Boomy said whoopsies. Like, what was that? Whoopsies what?
I don't. I clicked on the wrong. I clicked back too far. I lost the score for a
Oh, so
I was like, what? Whoopsies. We were just having a broken thumb.
Yeah.
No.
Cold-hearted Boomy. Jeez.
It is what it is. Take it how you want, folks. Whoopsies is the fact that I had to watch this game for a little bit, but the Cowboys beat the Eagles 37-17. They both stink, unfortunately.
The thing that came from this game was
now have a better chance at making the playoffs.
That it was a Madden game.
Yeah. They must
everything was done by accident, it looked like, in that game, too. It's like there's missed tackles and bad fumbles everywhere.
Even if you see the highlights, like on SportsCenter, it looks like a Madden game.
They look like they used a different camera.
Well, they used that high-res camera in the end zone and stuff. So that,
but it looked like the Madden simulation that you watch like in June when they release it.
Right.
Before the game comes out. It was weird. And then tonight, we have the Buffalo Bills heading to Foxborough to take on the Patriots.
Let's go, Bills.
Yep.
Yeah.
I got nothing to chime in on that game. What a dead Monday night game that is.
Yeah. I mean, and I think they made the right choice in Green Bay, Tennessee for the Sunday night, but obviously – retrospect, looking back, there probably could have been better choices, but obviously we're just talking about a score. So huge win. Oh, I didn't even mention that. That's because it's the last on my list. Packers demolish the Tennessee Titans. Matt, suck it. I can't wait for the Tennessee to run all over Green Bay's defense. Suck it, Matt. You're an idiot. I had to get that in. I've been bottling that up since 7 o'clock. Sorry. Right. No, I just had to get it in. Derrick Henry.
The snow helped.
It was the snow. They called in the weather machine.
Yeah, we're gonna move on.
You're right.
Yeah,
AJ,
it doesn't help.
We're moving on.
Doesn't know how to fucking.
I'm not moving on yet. I'm not done. AJ Dillon, 124 yards.
Moving on. That was week 16.
There goes 94.
Great recap.
Devontae Adams, 142 yards receiving.
Breaking news: the Bears just signed Shea McClellan for Week 17. To ruin Aaron Rodgers again for a second time.
Bring him on.
Breaking news.
Bulls start the season 0-3 with just a heartbreaker against the.
Keep racking up those losses, baby.
Are still not good either. But the first two games, ugly. Giving up 83 in the first game in the first half. The defense even tonight, the defense wasn't there. They gave up 129 tonight. They did score 128, but still.
Didn't Marketing get hurt too?
Yeah, I saw him limping, but I don't know what it was. I think something with his ankle.
Bring back Jim Boylan.
Shut up.
I know. Just kidding. I'm kidding.
Boomy, that was bad. But there's really nothing good to this.
No, I'll be as bad as you could. Go as bad as you can this year. They've got a ton of money coming off the books now after this season. So let's just give these guys a blank slate and let's roll.
Yeah, I don't
like those
right now
they had tonight. The city uniforms. No, I'm out. I'm out. You would. I'm out on those big time.
Here's what I've gathered watching the Bulls so far. They look like a team that is nothing but like 19, 20, 21, 22, 23-year-olds. And that's what they are. I mean, obviously Zach LaVine is a little bit older, but I believe they're the youngest team in the NBA, if not they're close as far as like the guys that see minutes. They look like a team of young guys. And that's what you're going to get when you have such a young core out there with a new coach. I mean, did we realistically think that the Bulls were going to be 50-32 this year? Probably not.
No, I mean, but it looks bad. I know it's 3 games, but like, I don't know. Sometimes it just goes on streaks during the game where it's just bad.
And I mean, you also have to take in a little bit of, like, they didn't have the regular preseason. They didn't have camp. They didn't have all summer after they drafted these guys in middle of June to get.
No one did.
I understand that, but you also have a new coach. You have a whole new, coaching staff. You have to take that into effect too. Yeah, it sucks they're 0-3, but like we're also 3 games into a new coaching staff. You kind of at some point kind of expected to see that a little bit.
I don't think so. I think you expect that if you bring Jim Boylan back, but when you bring Billy Donovan out, like, yes, do you expect to?
Yeah, but like what got added to the
games?
roster other than a 19-year-old power forward that made this team go from being
right, but that's not going in the right direction then.
But they didn't bring any free agents in. Like,
I know
this
what you mean, but like I'm not going to feel good about this because it seems like we're not going in the right direction.
I'm just not. I guess I'm not taking too much stock in what it is so far.
I guess, but I mean, like we just said it. This season it's not going to be good. So what, we're going to hope for a draft pick that we haven't been able to get in the last 3 years, and then do the same exact thing next year? Like what free agent are we picking up? Every free agent that was supposed to come out next year is signing extensions.
That's a long way away. I haven't even looked at who's in the free agency this year. But I'm just saying, I'm just not hitting any sort of panic button yet because it's 3 games into a brand new coaching staff,
no one pressed a panic button. But when you start 0-3, now you lose to the Warriors at home. That is a bad team. Like, it doesn't look good.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you on that end.
Yeah, well, you got anything, Manny?
I'm all about just one more year. Just tear it all down a little bit more. Just go full. Get a superstar because they don't have one. They don't have one right now. You got to get one. So if it's going to be free agency, if it's going to be the draft, whatever, they need a superstar. And I'm sick of watching just like.
I'm sick of that. I'm so sick of that. Every year, we got to wait for we're going to get this guy. We're going to get this guy.
I'm just sick of being in the fucking middle. Being in the middle is the worst.
Basketball purgatory.
I understand that, but what has being bad gotten us? We've been bad the last 2 years, and what has it gotten us?
You're not wrong.
I think the last 2 years, when you reset with a GM and a new coach, though.
All right. You got anything else?
No.
They
got coming up. They got the Wizards Tuesday and the Wizards again on Thursday. That weird kind of schedule, and then they can face the Bucks on Friday or Saturday. So that could get ugly.
Yeah. Boomy, you got anything for college hoops?
Yeah, and I know I feel like I keep saying the same thing over and over, but Gonzaga, oh my God, what a wagon. I mean, they played Virginia, who was the 16th ranked team in the country, 4-1 coming into the game, and they beat them by 23 points. It wasn't even close. They are an embarrassment of riches right now. They are so damn good. I don't know how much you guys have watched of Gonzaga, but you really hope that, it feels like you almost, I don't know about you guys, I cheer for Gonzaga because I feel like they've never, like they're still number 1 in the country, but they're still kind of an underdog just because they're Gonzaga. Is that just my...
That's always the way of it, like, with what conference they're in, but I think they're the number 1 team right now for sure.
Definitely the best team in the country.
Illinois gets back on the train. They pick up a win at home, 69-60 over Indiana. The Big Ten is, and I know we've kind of beaten this horse to death, but the Big Ten is so damn good. Northwestern holds off Ohio State, who was ranked 23rd in the country. Northwestern sitting at 6-1 right now. It is just unbelievable how good top to bottom. And then just the other day, Iowa gets knocked off by Minnesota.
That was bullshit, too. What a meltdown from Iowa in that game.
Yeah. I mean, and then you have Wisconsin, Michigan State playing on Christmas Day as well. They've got, I mean, 2 top 15 ranked teams, just unbelievably good. And Zach, I know we've talked about this a lot, but Kentucky falls to 1-6 after a very close loss to Louisville at Louisville. But do you guys realistically think, like, Kentucky's still probably going to make the NCAA tournament, right?
I don't think so.
No. How? They better get over 500.
Yeah.
They're going into the SEC now. It's not like they've lost to great teams.
I would disagree with. Their strength of schedule is pretty good.
I know, but if you're Kentucky, you should not be 1-5.
Great teams, I can say that. They haven't lost to it. I don't think they've lost to a title contender yet.
No, but they've lost to Kansas. You could make Kansas a title contender. Georgia Tech at Georgia. I mean,
Georgia Tech's a bad loss.
Yeah, Notre Dame.
Notre Dame's a really bad loss. Notre Dame stinks.
Richmond's going to the tournament. They're probably going to win that conference. But again, that's not a good loss.
It's Richmond.
North Carolina, they're going to the tournament. Louisville going to the tournament. So it's I think of bad losses like if they were to have lost to like I'm seeing some of the teams on their schedule got like Detroit. They played Detroit. So if you lose to Detroit, then I'm like, holy hell, burn it all down. Morehead State, same thing.
My thing for Kentucky,
I think that's
though,
wrong in the fact that, yes, if you lose to these teams, like maybe you lose to one random team, but they've lost now 6 different times. Like, that's not how it's supposed to work.
They don't have a shooter. They do not have anybody.
They don't have
a shot.
They don't have a guy like that they can just go to at any point, right?
Boston's a good player. Boston's like really talented. They don't have anybody that can hit a fucking shot though. And that Olivier Sarr, they relied on him a lot as a transfer from Wake Forest. I can tell you firsthand, Olivier Sarr, they had expectations that guy was going to be like an SEC Player of the Year. That guy he is way too soft to be any kind of a guy to rely on as a post presence. I can tell you that. Saw him at Wake Forest plenty of times, and Carolina dominated that guy.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see because, like you said, I think their biggest issue, and like you said, Boston's a good player, but like he's not Anthony Davis, he's not John Wall, like he's not the guy that's just you give him the ball and he can go win you the game like Kentucky's had in the past. And I mean, even looking at the more recent past, like Michael Kidd-Gilchrist, who was really good in college, like they just don't have one of those guys right now. So it'll be interesting to see, like you said, they're going into SEC play. Can they kind of wrap it all up and get it taken care of? Because there are some very winnable games in the SEC. There's some good teams, but there's also some very winnable games. So for worst start in Kentucky history in 109 years, 1911 was the last time they were 1-6. A little fun fact for you fellas. Anything else in college hoops? I think that might be all we have.
Let's move on to, we were going to talk about the Darvish trade rumors, but we just saw that the Blake Snell to the Padres trade is pretty much finalized. It's not gone all the way through.
It looks like it's just like the final nail,
which is huge, and it kind of takes Darvish out of the trade rumors because they're not going to be able to make another package for the Cubs and make it worth their time now. But getting Blake Snell is huge.
Now, does that essentially just? I'm assuming they're not going to bring Mike Clevenger back.
No, he's with them, but he had Tommy John. They got him and Paddock, so it's going to be, that rotation next year. Then they still have Mackenzie Gore too as one of the top prospects in the game, pitching prospect. So, that's going to be Paddock, Snell, Clevenger, and probably Mackenzie Gore at some point. That's going to be dangerous.
They're dangerous team. But I do like that the Cubs are listening to offers. I mean, no one on this team is, untouchable. We've talked about this a million times. No one's untouchable. And if you want to pay up with your 3 of your top 10 prospects for somebody, then let's have a chat, So
Right.
Padres, and I think the pressure is there on the Padres because of what the Dodgers have been able to do. They've won that division every year since 2014 maybe, or 2012. So Dodgers got to be looking a little bit in the rearview mirror now. The Padres are coming for them.
Yeah, so like I said, the Cubs, they've been listening to trade talks for a while here, but really just trying to figure out the right one. They're not going to give up a KB or a Darvish for nothing. So
Right.
it's nice to know that. Boomy, do you got a wacky web story for us?
I sure do, and as we know, it's been getting a little bit colder up here in the northern states, but also apparently it's getting a little bit chillier in southern Florida. And I think we might have talked about this last year, and I'm sure it might sound familiar. But that time of year is happening again, where the frozen iguanas start falling out of trees. The iguanas that live in southern Florida, if the weather gets a little bit too cold, their blood stops moving and they just become rocks in trees. And no matter what position they're laying in, they just fall out of them. And obviously, some of these iguanas and other lizards can weigh quite a bit, like 10 to 15 pounds. Imagine, a little chilly morning, you take the dog out for a walk in Coral Gables, Florida. It's in the 50s, whatever. Take a couple, steps out of your house down the sidewalk, and boom, a 15-pound iguana falls on your head. What a way to start the day. So if you're heading to South Florida,
does this kill them, or do they?
No,
it
kind of paralyzes them. Their heart slows down so much because of the cold, because they're not used to it.
It puts all their blood to the core. They're probably,
Yes.
Yeah.
And it essentially just puts them to sleep until they thaw out a couple hours later. Now, obviously, if they fall from
could you imagine the fogginess in your brain after that wake up? You think a hangover's bad? Think about frozen iguana brain after that shit. That is nasty.
Wake up, you're like, I was just what?
Yeah.
What the hell am I?
That would be wild.
It'd be kind of funny if you just had to you just had to be aware of falling lizards at all times.
Life comes at you quick, man.
That's like the definition of it right there. Life
1 minute you're chilling.
Fast,
minute you're chilling in a tree. The next you're frozen on a sidewalk.
It goes the other way for the person that got hit in the head. It's 1 second you're walking around, the next second you're getting hit in the head with a
frozen iguana.
Yeah. Jesus.
Life comes at you fast.
If you think you're having a bad Monday, at least you're not getting hit in the head with a frozen iguana.
Valid point. Very valid point.
But thank you for watching Monday, December 29th. Yep, I think that's right. No, 28th. Sorry.
Come on, Zach. Don't we wishing the days away already?
Yeah, I've been joined by Matt Schoolfield at schools_01 and Boomy at Boomy TCF. I'm Zach Lillia at Z Lillia TCF. The main page is at @typical_Chicago, Instagram, Facebook. Just type in Typical Chicago Fans. You will find us on there. Go over to YouTube, subscribe to the YouTube page, Typical Chicago Fans, morning shows, podcasts, interviews are all on there. And then go wherever you get your podcast from. Type in Typical Chicago Fans. You'll find us on there. If it's Apple, please subscribe, rate, and review. Shout out to 26shirts.com Chicago. Use the promo code Typical Chicago Fans at checkout for 15% off of your purchase. Again, that's Typical Chicago Fans at checkout for 15% off of your purchase at 26shirts.com Chicago. Anything else, boys?
Let's have a beautiful week, fellas.
Let's do it.
This has been the TCF Morning Show, Monday, December 28th. We love you all.
Peace.